Welcome to this documentary. Here we're going to talk about some aspects about Alejandro Magno's life, or in English, Alexander Magno or Alexander the Great.
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about his family background. And well, Alexander the Great was born in 366 before Christ in Peja, the capital of Macedonia. His father was Philip II. He was the king of Macedonia, known for his military and diplomatic skills, while his mother was Olympias and she was a princess from Epirus. Both parents claimed to descend from legendary figures, and this legend was source of pride and inspiration for Alexander, who admired the heroic tales of their ancestors. Alexander received a true education worthy of a king. His first tutors focused on teaching him discipline and military skills, but at the age of 13 years old, he was taught by the greatest philosopher Aristotle, who taught him a wide range of subjects, including philosophy, science, medicine, and literature. This education broadly influenced Alexander's thinking and leadership style, forming him or shaping him in a well-rounded leader. For formative experience, we have two that are the most important in his lives. The number one display of courage and skill came from the tale of the wild horse Bucephalus. This added one him admiration and established his status as a capable young man. This horse will later became his faithful companion in many battles. And in the number two, we have that Alexander also gained a lot of military experience by accompanying his father on campaigns and even taking charge of the kingdom at the age of 16 years old when his father Philip went to war.
Now we're going to see some of his major accomplishments. In 336 before Christ, Philip II was murdered under a conspiracy by one of the bodyguards, named Pausanias. This is when, at the age of 20, Alexander was proclaimed king. To ensure his power, Alexander began his regime by eliminating potential rivals to the throne. He ordered the execution of his half-brother Carano, his cousin Amintas IV, and a great commander Attalus. His mother, Olympia, also ordered the murder of Cleopatra Eurydice, the last wife of Philip II, and Europa, her daughter. With this, there was no heir or an influential person who would fight for the throne. After this, he had to fight against some Greek cities to earn the title of hegemon and suppress several revolts, and with this, he started his path to create one of the largest empires in history.
One of Alexander's first great achievements was the Battle of Granides in 334 BC or before Christ, in which he won a decisive victory against the Persian satraps of Asia Minor. This battle marked the beginning of his conquest of the Persian Empire and showed his brilliant strategies and leadership. This victory laid the foundation for his subsequent campaigns, which would eventually lead to the creation of one of the greatest empires in the world.
Expansion and administration of his empire. By the time of his death in 323 before Christ, Alexander's empire stretched from Greece and Egypt in the west of the Indus River, in the east covering over 5.2 million square kilometers. He founded more than 20 cities, being the most famous Alexandria in Egypt. Cultural integration and Hellenization. One of Alexander's most enduring legacies was his policy of cultural integration. Like many other conquerors, Alexander adopted elements of the culture he conquered. He married Roxana, a Bactrian princess, and later other Persian nobility, encouraging his soldiers to do the same. The blend of Greek and Eastern customs, known as Hellenization, led to a fusion of ideas and traditions that profoundly influenced the regions under his control. Educational and intellectual contributions. Educated by Aristotle, Alexander had a profound respect for learning and knowledge. His campaigns facilitated the spread of Greek science, philosophy, and literature throughout his empire. The establishment of the Library of Alexandria was a testament of his vision of a world enriched by shared knowledge and cultural exchange. Divine and legendary status. In his lifetime, Alexander was often regarded as a living god. In Egypt, he was declared the son of the god Amun, so he was declared a pharaoh. He was also the king of Persia and the king of Macedonia, the hegemon of the Greek states. Death. In 323 before Christ, after a campaign of unprecedented success and territorial expansion, Alexander fell ill in the palace of Nebuchadnezzar II in Babylon. Despite his youth and vigor, he was just 32 years old. The possible causes of death are said to be natural causes like a virus, poisoning of an autoimmune or genetic disease.
Challenges faced by Alexander. From the beginning, Alexander faced a number of challenges in the conquest. One of the main obstacles he had to overcome was the resistance of the Persians, who had great military power at the time. But he adopted a bold and aggressive strategy, attacking the Persians on their own territory and defeating them in a series of battles. Well, another major challenge he faced was the logistical difficulty of keeping his troops supplied and well equipped during his military campaigns. To confront this problem, Alexander used a series of measures, such as the construction of bridges and roads, and the adoption of a strategy of gradual conquest that allowed him control over the conquered territories before advancing towards new objectives. In other aspect, we will see the legacy of Alexander the Great. We will see here some of Alexander's legacy. First, the ability to govern vast areas. The logistics he developed to keep his troop supplies were considered an important aspect on his ability to govern vast areas. For example, despite having conquered Egypt, Alexander was not interested in imposing his own ideas of truth, religion, or behavior on the people as long as they voluntarily keep supply lines open. Alexander's military prowess. Alexander's military prowess was first noted at the Battle of Carina in 338 BC. Despite being only 18 years old, he helped turn the tide of the battle in a decisive Macedonian victory that defeated the allied Greek city-states. We have the Hellenistic period. Their influence over the regions they controlled created what historians refer to as the Hellenistic period, in which Greek thought and culture became intertwined with those of the indigenous populations. Other aspects that are recognized in Alexander the Great were the diplomatic skills. He had great military ingenuity as well as diplomatic skills in managing the various peoples of the regions he conquered. Furthermore, he is recognized for spreading Greek culture, language, and thought from Greece through Asia Minor, Egypt, and Mesopotamia to India, and therefore initiating the era of the Hellenistic world. Alejandro had the dream of cultural unity. One of the desires of Alexander's will was the creation of a unified empire between former enemies. People from the Middle East were encouraged to marry those from Europe and vice versa. By doing so, a new culture would be adopted by everyone. The Macedonian troops became increasingly uncomfortable with Alexander's apparent deification and adoption of Persian customs. Murder plots were hatched only to be relieved and the conspiration executed even if they were all friends. Ability to inspire his troops. Another key aspect of Alexander the Great's success was his ability to inspire his troops and earn their loyalty. He knew by heart the names of the vast majority of his battle companions, something that Napoleon Bonaparte would later emulate. He was a charismatic and visionary leader. He motivated his soldiers through his example and his work. He also cared about the well-being of his men and earned their loyalty by offering them a share of the spoils of war and protecting them from the danger of the battlefield.